Hey everybody, Aaron here, and this is my top 10 best harems, in my opinion. Let me set some ground rules up for you guys, and I always want to do this with top 10 because I think that still people don't understand it fully. Um, Not to say that no one understands, I'm just saying some people don't. So these are my top 10 harems. If you have an issue with that, hey, write in the comments below. Go, hey, I don't know why I don't agree with this one, I don't agree with that one. That's up to your opinion. That it's my opinion versus your opinion. Regardless, no one's gonna win in the long run because that's how this world is. It's different opinions. So these are also very very diverse or diverse diverse anime in general. I think that you're gonna see a lot of different stuff that you almost would be surprised on a top 10 harems. And I wanted to do that on purpose. I wanted to kind of shake things up with the typical top tens. When I do these things, I have a very different ideal set when I make top tens. I want to put more so that shows that I like a lot, but I also think that you guys will like a lot. But these are shows that predominantly, of course, I like because that's why my top tens. But they're shows that in the long run, I would always recommend to someone, go, hey, if you want to watch this type of genre, you watch this one or this one. And that's what I try to do best with these, and I hope that you guys like them. So far, it seems like you really do like them, and I think that that's the best part of this is that you guys watch these, and you'll put in the comments below if you agree or disagree. I've already had it a few times. I've had people disagree with me. I've had people agree with me, and that's cool. It actually really helps me out when you guys do that. But anyways, let's get on started with this top 10. So it begins. All right. So in 10th place is going to be Rosario Vampire. Now, a lot of people are probably going to be surprised because Rosario Vampire is, I think, scrutinized. And that's because, lo and behold, right there, the image right there, the manga is so much better. Honest to God, the manga is better. But the Rosario Vampire anime itself is actually a lot of fun. It really is. It's a series that it does things in a way that I just enjoy. I really do. I think there's so much fun to watch. I think that it has a lot of heart to it. It has a lot of humor to it. It's not a show that you take too seriously in terms of storyline and plots. I mean, the manga you do that with. If you want to actually get a story based genre of this, you go to the manga because the manga has a lot more fleshed out storylines and character concepts. You see more character development. But the anime went with this whole pure comedy aspect, and that works in a way. It had a lot of cool action moments, but also had a lot of heart and humor to it. I thought it was just a fun show overall. By the way, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, you're about to hear me say the word "fun" like a million and one times in this review, or this top 10, excuse me. That's unavoidable. I think that a lot of these shows in general are under the concept and guise of fun. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's go on and move on to School Days, which does not have the word fun in it per se. School Days, I know people instantly go, "Oh, I hate that anime." And that's a shame because School Days is not a bad show. It's an awesome show. I think that the concepts of it, because they're very dark and very realistic in the sense that of a thing that people hate, like cheating on women and stuff, which is something I hate personally myself. But I know that's something that makes people hate the show so much because they see a character doing that. But if you look past that and you realize this is just a story, this is an anime that you'll like because it's realistic in the sense that it's a harem because there are multiple girls that like our main character, but even more so, it's a harem that's done in a way that breaks all the boundaries of your typical harem. You don't have the usual atypical stuff that you have in harems, like the stupid protagonist or the stupid comedy moments that don't work here and there, or the just pure fan service moments. You have a story that has multiple girls liking our character, and it's very dark because this is probably what happened if it became a level of creepy, and that's why the two girls who are infatuated with him start fighting for him in ways that are very dark and not humorous. But it's a show that really hits the home point of harems can be something different, and that's why I personally will have it always on my top 10 harem list. And I always recommend people watching if you've never heard of it or if you've never seen it. But anyways, let's move on to number 8, Kanon. Now, I know some people are gonna be like, "Whoa, Canon, isn't that a romance story? Isn't that kind of a drama made by the people who made Clannad?" Which that was me just saying that. I don't think anyone's gonna keep saying that. But yeah, I know Clannad. Clannad is termed by many a harem, which I get pissed off every time I hear that. But it's not a harem. This is more of a harem because there are multiple girls that always like our main protagonist in the show. And while I'm not gonna spoil anything because you could see my review of this actually if it's way back when, but you could see my review of it where it actually has what happens with the main character and the kind of concepts he deals with over the course of the show. But why it's on my top 10 is because it's a show that, for a harem, also does something like School Days, where it breaks the fourth wall in terms of this is the typical harem elements that you always see, like the comedy, funny stuff, but it alters them slightly. It has more heart to it. It has a lot more romantic elements to it, and in the end, like another show which I might or might not be on this list, mm, the main character actually chooses one of the girls, and that's pretty cool. I always like that in the harem stories. I think this is a great, harem story. I think it's one of the few that if you really don't like harem but you want to watch a harem, this is probably the best place to start because it's so against the flow of what usually flows into a harem element story. So definitely check out Kanon if you never checked that out. I'd be surprised if you haven't. If you haven't, that's a shame. You gotta go watch that. All right, number 7, The Fruit of Gisaia. Now, what do I say about The Fruit of Gisaia? I know I reviewed this also not that long ago. Maybe a month and a half ago around that? Yeah, probably a month and a half ago. Fruit of Gisaia is a very dark tone story, almost like School Days in a lot of ways, but it has a lot of humor to it also. And it's a show that it deals with the harem element in a sense that I think is the one thing that some people always wish to see in the harem, where what if the main character gets all the girls at the end? Because this is one of the few shows that I'm being honest with you, when people ask me that question, is there any harem that exists that have the main character getting with all the girls at the end? I can't answer that, and that's surprising for me, who's like considered the anime encyclopedia when it comes to a lot of things. I can't answer it because I just honestly can't think of too many. This is one of the few that I can come up with instantaneously because it is the closest thing you'll ever get to a harem ending with actual harem. Um, I mean, HighSchool DXD is also one of them, but this is one of the ones that if you want a mature story, you want something that has kind of a lot of dark tones, but a lot of humor and a lot of I think real life aspects to it. This is the best place to be. And if you never heard of it, go watch my review of it. It's not that long a review. I think it's like 8 minutes, 9 minutes long, but definitely check out my review for it. It helps me out too. I'm not trying to advertise for my channel solely by doing these top tens, but it does help a little bit. But anyways, let's move on to number 6, The Familiar of Zero. Now, Familiar of Zero, what can I say about this? This is a show that is pure fun. It's not meant to be taken overly seriously. It's a harem story that almost deviates from the harem elements. It really does. It goes away from it after like the season 2, where you start seeing it kind of die down and focus of just one romance and then one kind of concept. But it still always have that moniker of harem because the first season and the second season majority are just pure harems, and then the last season being a mixture of harem in the beginning and then dying out completely. So think of it like 95% of the show is harem and then the rest is romance by itself. But it's a fun show, and my friend put it the best way that I could ever put this. It is like Harry Potter with a harem concept because the magical elements and stuff like that. I think that's the best way to think. I think it makes me crack up every time he says that. But yeah, that is the best way to put this show. It really is. All right, let's move on to number 5, The Hentai Prince of the Stony Cat. Now, if you never heard of this, I actually plan on telling you guys because I haven't reviewed this yet. I do plan on reviewing it probably, I want to say next week. But this will be a quick kind of synopsis for it. So, I'm still going to do a synopsis when I do a review of it. But the hentai Prince of the Stony Cat is about a young man and a young woman who they kind of have these weird quirks about them. The main character is a pervert, but he's kind of afraid to admit it to other people, and he kind of wishes that he could admit it a little bit because he thinks that would help him get girlfriend. Because he's like, oh hey, if I admit, by the way, that was not proper English, girlfriend. Nah, that was horrible. It tries to help him get a girlfriend. There we go. That's proper English. There's actual sentence structure there. Um, but he ends up hearing about a stony cat, which grants any wish if you give it something of equivalent value. Which, by the way, does not at all sound like Fullmetal Alchemist in many ways. But um, he goes to the cat and he actually wishes that he was more open about his feelings and his perverted nature. But like anything else, what you wish for, you have to be very careful of because it may just come true. And what our main character ends up finding out is that he ends up becoming a full-fledged pervert because now he can't stop himself from saying everything that blurts into his mind instantaneously. And it leads to a lot of nice quirks and kind of funny concepts. The main girl of the story, who was very hyper in the very first episode, wishes she would kind of dial it back a little bit and be less hyperactive. and ends up becoming almost like a mute character for the rest of the show, which is really funny. It leads to some great situational comedy, and it leads to a nice romance story. The harem element comes from multiple girls liking our main character, of course, but it's a good show. It's something that I really highly recommend watching. It's funny as hell. Anyways, let's move on to number four. Love Chunbiyo and Other Delusions, which, by the way, I kid you not, guys. I've tried to say that title like 30 times before the review, and I can't say it. I try, I really do, but this show, regardless of the horrible title, I think is just hilarious. I really, really love this show. It's why it's on the top four. It was actually almost third place. It was really that close. I mean, like a needle prick amount being that close to third place, but it does lose out to something I think slightly better than it. But love Chunbiyo and Other Delusions, and I didn't put the whole title out clearly because that would take up the whole screen. But I think what it does is it kind of awakens our inner kid in a way, because it just has a character who is afraid to let go fully of her concepts of being a hero, and a dark hero at that, being able to do aka magic even though you can't do magic, and having the concept that she's actually wielding weapons, and it leads to very funny situational humor. And I actually plan on reviewing the sequel because I've never seen the sequel, because I have reviewed this, I think, at one point or another. The sequel will be done probably in January, because I just bought it for Christmas as a Christmas gift. um I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy it. Hopefully, I've been hearing good things about it, but definitely number four because it's just a show that really is so good. Anyways, though, let's move on to the top three. The third place one would be Hagani, and I'll tell you right now, I love this show. I really do. It's something that I don't talk about a lot to people, only because it's not that I forget about it. It's just more so that I, how do I put it? It's more so that when I think about it, I don't think about it immediately. It's something that I've seen a while back when it first came out, and I've seen a million other animes after it. But when I stopped and thought about it and remembered all the stuff, that I just remembered all the funny moments of the show, and I just started bursting laughing without even looking at it. It's just I wasn't watching the show again. I was just living it in my mind, and it was so funny. And it's something that I did watch. I want to say like 3 years ago back, but I still watch occasionally on YouTube like some of the funnier clips that happen in the show, because there's plenty of them, trust me. But this show is so funny. It's about a group of guys and girls who they don't know one another yet per se. There might be one or two that do know each other, just don't remember each other. But they want to start a club where they can make friends, because none of them have friends. And ironically, they still think they don't have friends by the time the show's almost over. When lo and behold, being in a club together and being and sharing all these funny situational humor moments leads to this kind of funny, quirky friendship between all of them. And the reason why it's a harem is because there are multiple girls that do like our main protagonist in a way that is almost humorous. It really is. I think it's hilarious. I think it just is a show that breaks a lot of the typical harem elements by using the typical harem elements. If that makes any sense, think of it this way. It's that it knows that it's a harem. It acts like it, but it tries to make things work in a way that's almost counter harem. Even though the girls all like him at the same time, they don't constantly berate you with fan service moments or constant moments where they constantly are fighting for them, but more so moments of slice of life humor here and there, and other dramatical moments to add to the fuel that, oh wait, this is a harem element, this is a harem story. And I like that. I think it just goes against the bounds of it. I really do. I think Hagnight is an amazing, amazing show. Definitely check it out. Number two, HighSchool DXD. I know I'm gonna get some rates for this. I really do. I could feel it already from a few of you, because I know a few of you hate HighSchool DxD. But I like HighSchool DxD. I think it's a show that is also breaking the harem on concept, because here's the thing: it knows it's a harem. I repeat that, it knows it's a harem. The typical thing with harems is that you have a main protagonist not knowing that multiple girls like him, or not fully understanding that. That is almost in every one of these shows, except for like I think a few of them. But here's the thing: HighSchool DxD breaks that mold completely. It has where our character is knows it and wants a harem. He wants to go for that harem, and ironically, this is also one of the harems that end with actual character getting with all girls. Technically, it's the closest thing you're gonna get to it. Also, I think this show is funny. I think it has a lot of fan service. It does have some nudity here and there, but it's a show that is awesome. It's fun to watch. It's enjoyable. I never ever don't recommend, if you like harem, not to watch this. And even if you don't, if you just want pure comedy and some action here and there, because it does some really cool action sequences, you can't do any worse than HighSchool DXD. It's an amazing show. Now, so I don't take up 20 minutes of this video. And number one, Shuffle. This should not be a surprise to a lot of you. I think my friend's gonna be like, I called it. I know he called it right away because he already knows my style when it comes to anime in general, which is ironic because he's just now really getting into anime. But he's learning pretty fast, my style at least. Shuffle deserves to be in first place for multiple reasons. It's the oldest one of these shows out of all of these. It's the oldest one, but it still holds up to even now. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of humor. It's got some fan service here and there, but it's nothing that what fan service became nowadays, where it's constantly in your face. Shuffle used it in spurts. It used it in moments that needed the fan service to be a comedy, derivative, not to be like, oh hey, let's just throw constant boobs at you and upskirt shots. No, no, no. This show made it where it's like, oh, here it is, 5 episodes in, we have a boob shot because it's funny. Here's because this guy fell by accident. They do that, and it's funny. It works in a way that is quirky and humorous all throughout. This is a show that has a lot of heart, and then once it gets to a certain point where it becomes almost less about the harem elements and more so about the romantical elements, it becomes a whole different show. But it's still a harem nonetheless. And what's great about this is also it has our main character actually choosing one of these girls. I'm not gonna tell you which one it is. If you've seen the show, you already know who it is. But I know some people haven't watched the show yet. Definitely check it out. It's a show that I can't highly recommend enough. I always say that if you love harem or if you've never seen it, you need to watch it. It's the bottom line. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this top 10. I cannot talk in the morning very well. I should stop doing these things in the morning, but it is like the only time I could do them especially during this month. It's like I have to do them in the morning, otherwise I can't do them in the afternoon. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this again. These take a lot of work, but I think the feedback I get from you guys is worth this work. I think it's just fun. I didn't actually say. What's funny? I had to. Real fast. I had to do this before multiple times because I actually messed up. At one point, I actually forgot one of the numbers. Like I was 14 minutes into this video and I forgot number 5. I did, and I was like, oh crap, what the heck? Why? And I had to restart the whole thing. But I had said the word fun, I think maybe 30 times. I kid you not, within the last like 10 minutes. This time I kind of dialed it back, so I'm happy about that. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a great day. That's it for this video. Until next time, everyone. Bye.